I don't think I'd ever consider myself a jazz musician, just because I feel like there's a level of virtuosity there that I definitely don't have, but I would definitely say I'm heavily influenced by jazz. Having this background in percussion and drumming, was really interested in digging slightly deeper into particular rhythms, particular approaches to drumming. Initially that started with untuned percussion, and then has led to things like the balafon. I've kind of wanted to explore more melodic percussion as well.
I think Manchester's in a great shape at the moment. It has, in the Warehouse project and the White Hotel, two of the most impactful venues in the world. They're not conventional clubs in any way. There's a whole heap of other stuff next to that is really, really vibrant. There is a population that wants to go out and wants to listen to all this interesting music. I'm not one of these producers who has their workflow absolutely rigorously sorted out. I just kind of faff with things and try not to lose interest in it. Most of the work that I do happens on the laptop, and then I'll just use maybe a synth or an effect or something. A few years ago, I was able to get hold of a couple of ex-BBC monitor speakers. Having the speakers has been the single biggest, largest improvement in the quality of my productions.
I'd kind of heard of Rhythm Section. I think it was back in 2015 that my release technician came out with them. And I think like the year before, I'd sent Bradley a message on SoundCloud with like an EP of my tracks. And to my surprise, kind of got a response on there. He started playing those tracks out on NTS quite a bit and seemed to be getting kind of quite a good response from them. About 6 months after I'd kind of first sent them through, he asked if I wanted to release an EP with Rhythm Section. So that was kind of, I get it just internet really, SoundCloud.
I was on the Boiler Room 10 years ago. There was a technical problem at the Boiler Room studios. The internet was down, and so last minute, this person on the email chain called Bradley, and he decided that we were going to do the Boiler Room from his house that day. To recognise he had a northern accent, and so while they were doing all the setting up of the cameras and everything, me and him just went to the chippy. And we just became pals. I think we just there was a northern thing going on to begin with, and that was where it all began really. It was that day at his house for Boiler Room.
The main aspect of the sample pack was it all started from my obsession archiving machines. So being like, oh, I'm going to sell this drum machine, I want the sounds. It all started like this kind of like collector vibe, like kind of like Pokemon, got to catch them all. Always been obsessed with getting the most out of all types of equipment. But we started the studio and I wanted to expand it, and I thought sample packs would be a good way to kind of get the beat making and producing community engaged in what we were doing, rather than it just being, here's more music, here's tools to make music.
The sample pack is made up of percussion that I've gathered over the years, some of which is me sampling instruments that I own, like the oudou or djembe, congas, bongos, and then some of it's been percussion that I've had the pleasure of being able to use but would never be able to afford, such as an entire gamelan.
It was a combination of my own sample library that I've built up over the years, things that I've recorded, field recordings, times when I've been in studios and been able to use lovely microphones to record things. And then I also fired up the D50. I remember just being, at the time, in a sort of 90s street soul kind of, mood, which I still am to a certain degree.
I think that's actually been one of the nicest things about this sample pack is people hitting you up from like all over and being like, oh yeah, I've made this tune, and you getting to hear how other people have interpreted it. And then maybe being like, oh yeah, I should have done that myself.